Yo, when I'm headquarters, I got Newtown like 4 times in a row.
Yo, and you two of these kids and get Tommy's Seamus.
John, can you stay back for a minute?
Sure, Mrs. Smith.
I'd like to speak to you about something.
Okay.
Take a seat.
Sure.
Your current average is a 102.
Oh, I thought it was a 103. Oh well.
I was wondering about your study habits. Obviously they work. How many days before an exam do you study?
Well, I usually just study like a few minutes the day before, if at all.
And daily, how long do you study for your classes, any of them?
6 out of 7 days a week, I don't even touch a book.
And do you reread the textbook or outline it?
No, it's not necessary. Neither.
Really? And I advise all my students to do one or the other. One last question. How do you feel before an exam? Tense? Nervous?
I feel as if there really isn't an upcoming exam. Like I feel like reassured and confident.
Outstanding. And even for my hard tests. Well, John, you are very bright. But I must warn you. Things in my class will become much more challenging, and your classes in general will become difficult. You eventually will need to pick up the work and effort if you want to continue succeeding. I urge you, when that time comes, to pick it up and get the job done.
Okay, thanks for the tip, Mrs. Smith.
Anytime. Have a good day, John.
You too, Mrs. Smith.
Hello, Mr. Smith. I'm Samuel Edwards, John's father.
Nice to meet you. Sit down. So what brings you here tonight?
Well, you see, I come home from work every day around 5, and he's either in his basement playing video games or at his friend's house, and I find it hard to believe how he can get such a good grade with such little effort.
I actually spoke to John today regarding his study habits.
What do you say?
He studies about once a week, briefly if at all, for not only my subject, but any of his classes. He does not reread the textbook or outline it as my other students do, and I recommend.
Well, maybe there's been some grades he hasn't been showing me. Can I see his grades?
I've taken out his most recent major marks, and you can see for yourself.
99, 98, 100, 99. Well, is there anything John can do outside of class?
He hands in all of his homework assignments on time and for full credit. There was an essay he had to write at home that he handed in last week. I think it was superior, one of the finest in the grade. There's nothing much negative I could say.
It's funny because when I was in high school, I had to study all day and all night and usually get no sleep. Guess this is what the kids prefer.
Well, I do have to ask you one rather serious question, Mr. Edwards. Do you know anything about if John ever cheats?
Well, you see, I was asking him this the other day, and he said he would never cheat because the kids in his grade, he said if he ever cheated off them, he'd get the whole test wrong, so I don't think he would ever cheat.
Okay. I just had to make sure of that. Thank you for your honesty, Mr. Edwards.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Same to you.
John and Fred are hanging out after school, and Fred is eager to find out about John's conversation with Mr. Smith.
I didn't see you 5th period. What did Smith want?
Most boring conversation of my life. He wanted to know how I studied because my grades were so high.
That's awesome. I've never had a teacher ask me that. Do you tell him the truth?
Yeah, I guess so. This class is a breeze. Period. That's all I should have needed to say.
It's not that easy. But, you want to work on that social studies project due Friday?
A head start? I mean, come on. I'm just going to do it Thursday.
It's due Friday, then.
Exactly. Last time I checked Thursdays before Friday.
You're going to do a 5-minute presentation, a PowerPoint, speech and all, the night before this project is due. 25% of your final grade.
Yeah. By the way, what'd you get on that math test?
Promise you won't make fun of me.
Depends.
87?
I'm not gonna say anything. Come on, it's just a joke.
Don't be a jerk.
John is over Fred's house when Fred brings up the upcoming crucial exam.
John, you know the SATs are soon. Have you been studying much?
Fred, you just don't understand, do you? I haven't studied, nor do I ever plan to study, so I don't need to.
Look, I understand that school's a breeze for you and all, but how are you not studying for the SATs? That one test that will possibly determine your whole future.
Well, look, the test is on stuff that we've learned, and my grades clearly show that I know all the stuff we've learned, so studying would just be a waste of time. I much rather do other stuff.
You're crazy.
So, when is the SAT?
I'm taking it the 16th. How about you?
Oh, same. So I guess I'll be taking it with you.
Yep.
Oh, well, I have to go, so I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
See you.
Back at the Edwards household, John's father decided to question him about his work ethic.
John, come down. I'd like to speak with you.
Okay, be right down.
I made us some tea.
Oh, nice.
So I was speaking with your teachers today. When do you study?
Look, we've been through this. I don't study. I never study, and I get 100 on every single test without even trying. What good does studying do? Because no test or class is difficult enough to study for. I can get into any college I want.
Listen, I'm your father. Don't talk to me like that. You're competing against the whole country to get into college, not just your school.
I know that.
That cocky attitude won't get you nowhere. Do you cheat?
This is BS. Why in the world would I cheat?
Just go to your room.
Fine.
Welcome, people, to the SATs. This test will determine the rest of your lives, but no pressure.
Yo, I didn't sleep at all last night. I'm scared.
Dude, get real. This test's the same for everyone in the whole country. It's gonna be a joke for me. I'm sure it'll be pretty easy for you too.
Let's begin the directions for taking the test. As you take it, bubble in your answers on a number 2 Scantron. Number 2 pencils may be used, and number 2 pencils only. Does everyone have a number 2 pencil? Yes? Good. Graphing calculators are not allowed. Does anyone have graphing calculators with them? No? Good.
Please, hurry up.
Excuse me, Mr.
My name's John.
John. You may begin the test. Time is up. I will now take the test. No more writing.
Yo, you want to go to Elegantes after?
No, I gotta go home, but holy cow, that was the hardest test I've ever taken. No one could have possibly done well. If I didn't do well, then everybody else must have gotten like a 0.
It wasn't that hard. I mean, it was basic knowledge. I mean, what we studied.
You do better than me?
Well, I studied. You didn't study. Remember I asked you before? You said no.
Yeah, well, goodbye.
The day John has been dreading for weeks has finally arrived. The day he finds out his SAT score.
What are you doing?
Dad, your SAT score came today. You scored a 600.
Well, what's the SAT average?
2,400.
How is this possible? The lowest I've ever gotten in my whole life is a 98.
Well, you remember what Mr. Smith said? At some point, things will change. And if you want to get a good grade, you can't just sleep during class. And that time is coming. You simply have not changed.
Well, just know that I'm a genius because of my honors and AP classes and, of course, my GPA for those classes. So this disaster shouldn't be too detrimental.
Well, you want to get into Harvard, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, to get into Harvard, you need a 2208. Your score of 600
Well, that takes you completely out of getting into Harvard, so you pretty much ruined your life.
Look, I don't want to listen to this. I'm the valedictorian. I might as well be the #1 student in the whole school and the whole county.
We'll see.
So yeah, I applied to Harvard, Yale, and as a worst case scenario, Cornell.
Well, your application is exceptional, but I must tell you that colleges are going to put a lot of weight on the SAT score, and I really think that you should apply to a less selective college.
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna get into one of these. And I said before, I have Cornell as a backup.
You have to look at the situation realistically, and have you thought about applying to Tufts or Michigan? They're good schools.
Look, I don't understand this. No one's gonna care about a dumb SAT score. I'm still gonna get into Harvard or whatever college I want.
I'm just looking out for your best interest, John.
I'm done with this. Can I leave now? I'll take that as a yes.
John couldn't quite grasp the idea that he had failed, and he still held on to the small glimmer of hope that he would find out he really was accepted to one of the schools he was hoping to attend. He paced the floor and watched for the mail to come out his front window every day. Finally, after a month, he realized that if he didn't apply to another college soon, he would not be going to college at all. He came to terms with the situation and applied to a less selective college. He was accepted into it and went. John was still very upset about the situation, but he knew there was no one to blame but himself. He still believed he was the smartest in his class, and he may have been, but he stopped saying it to others, and he didn't act like a show-off as much anymore. When looking back, he realized the outstanding potential he had, and that not taking advantage of it led to him not reaching what he was truly capable of. He had let himself, his family, and his teachers down, all because of his arrogance and neglect to study. Although there is nothing wrong with attending a non-Ivy League college, it is not what John was hoping his fate would be, and therefore, he had met his demise. Now, can you guess what our theme is? Too much arrogance can lead to one's demise.